And welcome to the show, Kirsten Corson. Kirsten Corson is a co-founder of Zilch and is an incoming director of Drive Electric, which is right there as well. And we're here to talk about, I guess, electric vehicles, EVs, and the clean car discount. Kirsten, welcome to the show.
Kia ora, Pat. Thanks for having me.
Good. Just out of interest, I'm sure the punters will know, what are you sitting in right now? What are you driving?
Well, it is an EV. I'm in the fortunate position that I drive lots of different EVs. I don't own a car.
Cool.
Yeah, and at the moment I'm driving the BMW iX1. They've given it to me to test drive, and it's quite exciting actually. It's an all-wheel drive, so it is great to have an all-wheel drive that's sitting below that 80k price point.
Yeah.
And that sort of segues quite nicely onto the unfortunate announcement that we'll lose the clean car discount, because it's unlikely this car will be priced at $799.90 for much longer. I would say come 1st of January, the price will go up.
And that's $799.90, and then you get 7,000-ish off that as well, so it becomes more like 7,300. So that's be a double whammy. Yeah, that's terrible. Hey, look, this is what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the clean car discount. And I guess, I mean, we can talk about what it is, but I think most people have a general gist of what it is now. And the thing that I've been wanting to talk about is our new Prime Minister is quoted on one of the breakfast shows last week when they were talking about policy and legislation that they're going to, quote, go through all the dumb stuff, get rid of the dumb stuff and the stuff that's not working. My understanding is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the clean car discount as of right now is not costing the country anything. It's either profitable or neutral, which means it's not dumb. It's washing its own face. And I believe it's made us one of the top 3, 4, 5 countries in the world per capita for EV uptakes. So if that's all correct, my question is, why are they getting rid of it? They seem to be doing something opposite from what they're saying. It's a smart policy and it's paying for itself. Can you speak to that for us?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think it's like all policies we see come in. Over time, they can be tweaked and improved.
Mm-hmm.
There are aspects of this policy that National don't like, and the aspects are that we're funding. We've got incentives in there for consumers, and consumers typically keep their car for 7 to 10 years.
Right.
And what they're wanting to see is some sort of incentive or some sort of program in place that we can see greater second, third hand rollout of electric vehicles. So certainly our conversation with National is we need incentives. You're absolutely right, Pat, that the clean car discount has, in the last 2 months, has got to a place where it is cost neutral. Up until that, it has been costing us millions. However, I guess there's a couple of reasons why we think incentives are worthy of investment. And if we look at, the recent news of Fonterra getting pressure from Danone and Nestle to say, yes, we want to work with you, but we actually need to see you cleaning up your act from a sustainability point of view. So we're a trading country, and we need partners that we can work with. And so those big international players want to see us being sustainable. So that's, I guess, a very strong reason to do it. Another reason is we spend $9 billion with the petrochemical industry each year, and
Right.
a huge chunk of that goes offshore. And a fun fact, which I really like, if you're filling up your car with petrol, a 6.9 litre, you'll be paying $21 per 100 kilometres. If you're charging your EV at home off peak, it'll be costing you around $2 per 100 kilometres.
Yeah.
So you can see that $9 billion that we send offshore, well, a huge chunk of it goes offshore. We can see the economic opportunity for Kiwis if we are able to electrify. And I guess that comes to the importance of an incentive program, because we need to be creating that second and third hand market so EVs are affordable for everyone. So you think about the impact on Kiwis, bottom lines or back pockets, if they could electrify and have extra money in the piggy bank, each week instead of spending that with the petrochemical industry. So that's another key reason. And just to throw in another one as well, and then I'll let you ask another question, Pat. You can see I get quite passionate about this.
Yeah,
I'm
for
waving
sure.
my arms around. It's all going on. So the other reason too is we spend $10.5 billion. Well, there's two reasons actually. We spend $10.5 billion in social costs for the 2,247 people that die each year directly related to our transport emissions. So a friend said to me yesterday morning, he was complaining about the 6K he was charged buying his ute. And I said, think of it as a smoking tax, because currently the cars we drive are literally killing over 2,000 Kiwis, and that's coming at a social cost to our DHBs that are having asthma cases, those sort of incidents coming through their doors. So I said, look, I make no apology of it, and you really don't need to be driving a ute. But I guess the fourth reason is too that Treasury are currently forecasting that we're going to spend $20 billion on international offsets come 2030 because we haven't got it together. So spending a couple of hundred, even $100 million when we're looking at spending $20 billion to go offshore to plant trees in third world countries come 2030.
Yeah.
And that's before we even remove the clean car discount. Treasury were forecasting that. So
Wow.
I don't know. For me, those are really compelling reasons to have an incentive program for electric vehicles.
You talk about the social cost, but actually what you're also talking about now is the literal financial cost. It seems like this current government, and it's not your area to talk about, but when they're saying that they're going to cancel the smoke-free 2025 legislation, or the smoke-free generation, they're going to get back several $100 million in tax, but we're being told that creates a $10 billion gap, or $10 billion hole, 5 billion of which is made up of a cost to the medical system, and 5 billion is made up of lost income that they would have had if those people hadn't gone into the medical system. So it seems like a sort of similar argument that there is the social cost, but there is actually a tangible financial benefit for EVs as well. And I know that you talk to these people, so I'm not asking you to comment on anything necessarily politically, but the way I see it is this political party and the side of the political spectrum that says to us, we're the party of business. We're the party that'll do the X, Y, Z. They seem to be making dumb financial decisions, if nothing else, even without the social costs as well. So what I'm wondering is, once we get rid of the clean car discount, what happens to EV sales next year? Because if we're one of the top 3 to 5 countries in the world for uptake at the moment, what happens next year when we get rid of this legislation that's currently paying for itself and driving purchases of EVs significantly in New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah, look, we will see a decline, as we've seen in Germany recently, that are over 30% EV have removed their incentive, and they've seen the markets, reduce significantly. China removed their incentive program. They saw such a significant reduction, they put it back in place.
Right.
So, but I guess if we look at some improvements and what we are talking to the government about, or we come the new year, is if we look at the clean car discount at the moment, as I said, it really was targeted very much at businesses and consumers that were wanting to buy light vehicles. But there's other parts of our transport ecosystem that do significant vehicles kilometres travelled, which is the term that's used in our emission reduction plan. So it's how can we create a program that can target not only our light fleet, but our commercial fleet, and then our heavy transport fleet. So some of those ideas might be an FBT exemption for light fleet. It might be a RUC exemption for heavy fleet. It might be tax credits for businesses that are wanting to install charging infrastructure or battery storage. So I think there's some ways that we can take the learnings from our current clean car program and our clean car discount and go, actually, we could create something really smart that targets all parts of our ecosystem. Because there's things like our business community, they buy 60% of our new cars, and they change their fleet, every 3 to 5 years. So those are the parts of our ecosystem we really want to target, because
Yeah.
this is about creating the second and the third hand market.
Yeah.
That was another long-winded answer. Sorry, Pat.
No, but I get it. And then those, like I've been to Turner's car auctions recently, and what you can see is all of those businesses who have got the Leafs or the Ionics and stuff that have done their 2 or 3 years, and they're now starting to flood into the secondhand market. So the businesses that buy up en masse are also the ones that drive the secondhand market for the rest of us. So I completely see it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's some exciting opportunities, and we do know that National is committed to electrification. They've made that commitment for 10,000 public charges, which is what we need to happen, to give consumers the confidence to go EV, because at the moment the clean car discount has been so successful that we've seen queues at charging stations. So we need to sort that out, and we also need some better policy around home and commercial charging as well.
Right.
And policy around uptime and policy around disability access. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done around charging infrastructure, and also the incentive programs, and that's really the two key priorities for Drive Electric in 2024.
Cool. Hey, last question. If you won Lotto this weekend and money was no object, what's the EV you'd buy?
Well, I like something that can tow a trailer.
Yeah.
And next year the Mini comes out, that's all-wheel drive with a towing capacity, the Mini Countryman. So it's going to be all-wheel drive, it can tow a trailer, and it's going to be under 80k.
Wow.
So for me, not that, and I love all EVs. Yeah.
they're all
like
my children. They're all my children.
I
love them equally, but
yeah. I love them a whole lot more if they've got towing capacity. I'm a big gardener, so I always like to be able to go and get a trailer load of horse manure or stones or bark or something like that. So, an EV that tows is a thumbs up from me.
All right. I wrote down Rivian when you started talking. I was wondering if you were going to say that, but no, the Mini. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirsten, thanks for joining us today. If people want to find out more about Drive Electric, the website is just driveelectric.org.nz, and give us like a 30-second the elevator pitch as to what exactly Drive Electric is.
Look, we are a member group that is all about accelerating the uptake of e-mobility. So that can be anything from scooters to vans to trucks to cars. And how can we accelerate that and put our foot down in New Zealand?
Cool. And while you're there, tell us about Zilch. What's Zilch all about?
Zilch is a EV mobility as a service business. So we help businesses decarbonise their mobility by giving them EVs in their own fleet that they can share, make money off, and we've got an FBT exemption on that, as well as we've got a public car sharing side of the business in Auckland and in Christchurch.
And I'm sure that'll be coming to Dunedin sometime soon.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure about that one, Pat. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the Lime scooters have done a turn down here thanks to all the students. They're everywhere and they're still going strong.
Well, I think the great thing about micromobility and EV scooters and bikes is a third of our trips are 2 kilometres or less.
Yeah.
So we get excited about our what EVs we can drive, but the best decision we can make is actually to use public transport, walk, or use an e-bike or an e-scooter.
That is Kirsten Corson. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good day.